Karen sued a federal marshal for wearing her gun, but when the judge read Elena's rank, he laughed.
Karen sued my wife for wearing her sidearm. The judge laughed when he read her federal rank. The sun hung low over the dusty streets of Redstone, a small town where everyone knew each other's business. Karen Miller, the self-appointed guardian of neighborhood decorum, had made it her mission to enforce her version of order. Her latest target? My wife, Elena, a federal marshal who carried her sidearm with the quiet pride of someone who'd earned it through blood and grit. Karen didn't see duty or sacrifice. She saw a threat to her pristine cul-de-sac. It started with a grocery store confrontation. Elena, off-duty but still wearing her holstered Glock per regulation, was grabbing milk when Karen stormed up, her face redder than the apples in aisle 3. "You can't carry that in here," she shrieked, drawing stares. Elena, calm as ever, explained her federal credentials, but Karen wasn't having it. "This is a family store. You're scaring people," she spat, though no one else seemed scared. Elena walked away, but Karen's indignation only grew. Days later, a lawsuit landed on our doorstep. Karen claimed Elena's open carry caused her emotional distress and endangered the community. The complaint was a masterpiece of exaggeration, demanding $50,000 for psychological trauma. Elena laughed, but I saw the strain in her eyes. Her job was her life, and now it was under attack by a woman who once called the cops on a kid's lemonade stand. The courtroom was a circus when the hearing began. Karen, in a bright pink blazer, sat with her lawyer, a nervous young man who looked like he regretted taking the case. Elena, in her crisp suit, sat beside me, her sidearm absent today, but its weight felt in her steady gaze. The judge, a grizzled man named Hargrove, peered over his glasses, already skeptical. The gallery buzzed with locals, drawn by the spectacle of Karen's latest crusade, she said, sliding Elena's credentials across the bench. That's when the twist came. A man in the back row stood up unprompted. It was Tom, the quiet cashier from the grocery store who'd witnessed the whole encounter. "Your Honor, if I may," he said, voice shaky but firm. Karen wasn't scared. She was yelling about her rights and filming Elena with her phone. She posted it online, calling her a gun-toting thug. Gasps rippled through the room. Karen's face went pale. Tom, who'd never spoken up in his life, had just flipped the narrative. He sat down, hands trembling, but his words hung heavy. Judge Hargrove raised an eyebrow, then turned to the documents. He read Elena's federal rank, Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal with commendations for bravery, and burst out laughing. The sound echoed, silencing the room. "Miller," he said, wiping his eyes, "you're suing a decorated federal officer for doing her job? This is the most frivolous thing I've seen in 30 years. Karen shrank in her seat, her blazer suddenly clownish. The case was dismissed in minutes, but the fallout lingered. Karen's lawsuit had backfired, exposing her as the town's bully. Elena, though, wasn't celebrating. That night, she sat on our porch, staring at the stars. "I signed up to protect people," she said, voice low, "not to be vilified for it." I held her hand, feeling the weight of her sacrifice. Karen's stunt had cost more than money. It had chipped away at Elena's pride. Weeks later, we heard Karen was planning a countersuit, claiming defamation from Tom's testimony. It was absurd, but it loomed like a storm cloud. Elena, ever the warrior, was ready to fight, but I saw the toll it took. The town rallied behind her, with Tom becoming an unlikely hero, but the bitterness remained. Karen's vendetta had turned a small-town spat into a wound that wouldn't heal. In the end, the story wasn't about a gun or a lawsuit. It was about pride, duty, and the cost of standing up to petty tyranny. Elena carried on, her badge a little heavier. Karen faded into her own echo chamber, her complaints drowned out by a town that had seen her true colors. But the question lingers. When does standing your ground become a battle not worth fighting?
What do you think? Should Elena have fought Karen's countersuit or walked away to protect her peace?